Welcome to the FMCG guys. I'm your co-host, Efren Rosario, and joined most of the time by my co-host, Daniel Torres-Dwyer. Hi, Daniel. How are you?
Hey, Efrain, I'm doing great. Good to have you start for once. I'm sure the audience will be very happy.
Well, I thought I'd give you a little bit of a respite this week, so I'm happy to kick things off. And interestingly enough, on this week's episode, we have somebody who we both know from our prior lives, Servio Calvo from Grupo Bimbo.
Indeed. And I have to say as well, it's the first person on the show, I'm pretty sure, that's based in Spain, or at least the first one that's in a local Spanish role. So keen to learn more about this market.
Well, Servio was gracious enough to join us, and he walked us through his experiences at some fairly prestigious FMCG brands like Grupo Bimbo, but also the Coca-Cola Company prior to that, and as well as his background having started his career as a lawyer. So that makes him quite unique in its own right as well.
I'm Servio Calvo. I'm the sales director for the retail channel in Grupo Bimbo in Spain.
Hey Servio, thanks for joining us. Good to see you again after, as we were saying, a couple of years without talking. And I found it funny to when I discovered Efrain and you knew each other, and you actually came a long way.
Exactly. Happy to be here with you guys, and thank you for the invitation.
It's a small world, Servio, so it's always good to reconnect with good friends. So, as Daniel alluded to, you and I know each other from our prior employer, Coca-Cola, and now, like you said, you're at Grupo Bimbo. Could you just talk us a little bit through your career and I guess the places you've worked, and even going back to before starting in commercial roles, kind of how it all started for you coming out of university?
Okay, yeah. After studying law, I totally changed the approach of my career, and I joined the Continente group that at that stage was Carrefour, and that was my first step in my career. I was in the side of the retailers, and I studied in logistics. So I think it's amazing the changes that you have through the path. I started in logistics in Continente, and then it came the merger between Carrefour and Promodes, and then it became Carrefour. And I worked in Carrefour for 5 years. After that, I moved into a small family business in Spain, 2 years that it didn't work. And then I joined BDF Nivea, the cream, for 2 years, and then started my career in Coke. In Coke, I spent 14 years. And all the time in Coke, it has been really related to commercial and customer positions. I started as a key account manager, group account manager. Then I moved into an international role as a international director, managing the Carrefour and the global accounts for the Coca-Cola side. And I moved into Paris. Then I went back to Spain as a channel director in the Coca-Cola company side. And my last adventure within Coca-Cola was in London for 2 years as a commercial director for the company, and a great experience. And now since May 2021, 2 years already, that time is flying really. I work in Grupo Bimbo for Spain. As I told you, I'm the sales director for the retail channel, and really, really, really very happy with the company. It's a great company. Grupo Bimbo is is the perfect mixture of a big multinational, because we have presence in 34 countries, and a family business. And if I can share something that I really liked when I joined Bimbo, is what they call the golden rule. The golden rule is the way you have to manage the relation with your colleagues within Bimbo, no? And it has 4 principles. That is respect, justice, trust, and affection. And it's not really something that is said in Bimbo and you don't put it in place. You feel it since the very beginning, from the top management to everyone within the organization.
That's interesting. And I think that one thing that's interesting about Bimbo as well is it's really like an FMCG, one of the really big Latin American multinationals, because the headquarters in Mexico, I believe.
In Mexico is the headquarters. I've been in Mexico because they have an induction program. And that week that I was in Mexico, then I realized how big is Bimbo and what the company is. Such a company, such a big company, and it's amazing the level of the connection with the Mexican people and Bimbo. Everyone knows Bimbo in Mexico. It's amazing. It's amazing.
It's one of these companies that we could call an institution.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, and so I want to go back to something you said at the beginning, which is that you started your career in law, right? So you actually, I'm assuming you actually went through law school before deciding to make the shift into commercial and logistics. So I'm curious to hear, how has your law background served you in your commercial career?
It is an interesting question that I thought about it a lot of the time, saying, well, if I study law, how I ended into a commercial and sales role. But I think it gave me, if I think about the degree, the law degree has supported me during my career. I think on those long days reviewing contracts before signing agreements with customers and reviewing every clause in order to make it, work for both sides. And that's also the internal politics. I think it gives you a little bit of the sense of controlling and the way you have to speak and control the conversation. And the last one, I think, is the good relation that I have with all the legal departments in the company that I've been to.
Yeah, I didn't think about that, but you actually are probably most adept in regards to, like you said, being able to come to those agreements. And being able to speak that language with the legal team as well.
Exactly. Yeah.
And now you're doing, like, after going international, you're doing basically managing the main key accounts for Bimbo in Spain, right? So the main retailers. You're actually, I think, the first person that comes to the podcast that has a retail key account role in the Spanish market. Can you give us a bit of an idea of what the Spanish market key accounts look like right now for people that are not familiar with Spain?
Well, at the end of the day, we in my team is a structure I have national key accounts that are groups that are also operating globally. Then I have Andres that is in my team that is the manager for all the regional accounts. He's managing a team of 7 key accounts that we call regional because and then I have also the e-commerce. Gianfranco is working in my team also as a e-commerce manager with a key account, Diego, that is also looking into the pure players and brick and clicks. But at the end of the day, I think the retailers in every market are pretty, it's the same structure and the same way of doing business. Probably the main difference for me from Spain to other countries is if I think about, for example, UK, with the 5 top retailers, they're making almost 85% of the total sales in the market. And in Spain, the top 5 is close to 50. So you have it's not concentrated as much as other countries, and the regional players that are also belonging to buying groups is very important and relevant for the business. So that makes I think that's the main difference if you think about other countries. Probably Italy is pretty similar than Spain, but if you think about UK, France, Germany, they are more concentrated.
Yeah, absolutely. Because, for example, I live here in Catalonia, and I know that in Andalusia, for example, there's a supermarket called Coviran, which is a regional player, and I know it's super dominant in Andalusia. And here, most people would have never even heard about it.
Exactly.
Catalonia, which is pretty big, people in Andalusia have probably never heard about it either. So
yeah, now they're trying. Even the local players are trying to move across also the markets and growing in other regions as part of their growth strategy.
And kind of, I guess, taking it from Spain specific to, I guess, a topic that's relevant to all markets is, How have the last couple years played out with regards to retail in Spain in terms of like, both COVID, but now with the economic situation being at what it's been? Have you kind of noticed any general observations in regards to how it may have evolved as a result of that? I mean, like you kind of referenced one already, which is like you said, you've got local players who are looking to expand their geographic footprint.
Yeah, what I would say with that is that what you realize with all the things that we've been through as a sector, you mentioned COVID and now the tariff, the cost of goods and the war, everything that is related to prices in the sector. I think you can really tell and assume that this is a very resilient sector because I think we have been through all these crises and problems and issues, and we just move forward and look for strategies or tactics in order to move forward and get out of the situation with growth. So I think it's putting the last years there has been a lot of pressure for retailers and fast-moving consumer goods companies, and we have managed to find a way of trying to survive into this crisis, and that's what I think. I think the headline would be that it's a very resilient sector where some are suffering more than others, and it has been really a challenge and really a high pressure on benefits and margins.
Yeah.
And
I imagine too. I mean, this is where I think the fact that you've had fairly broad international experience really is to your advantage as well, because not only do you know the Spanish market intimately, but you also know, given the roles that you've been in, how you may be able to borrow or, I guess, in essence, learn from other places in the globe as well, particularly at a company like Grupo Bimbo, which is multinational as it is. Mm-hmm. So my question is, how has that international experience benefited you now that you're in this role focused on the Spanish market?
I think it has been a great support and a big, if I think about my career, when I changed from Spain, I moved into Paris, but then I had the role had a global perspective. Even if I was based in Paris, I was traveling to Latin America, Asia, Middle East, and the first thing that I realized is how big is the world, no? Because when you're in a country and you're managing your country, you think that your world is your country, and when you really move into an international position, then you realize how big is the world, how important is to have a more strategic view. That's I think one of the things that I've got from my international experiences is to elevate a little bit and have this view of strategy, global strategy, from companies, big companies, and also it gives you the cultural angle, no? To know other people, other countries, the way they operate, the way you become more open, more flexible, more understandable, and then of course you go back into the operation, but you maintain this strategic framework in your mind.
Yeah, we've had several guests on the pod who've talked about some of these cultural similarities and differences, and how being able to, in essence, understand those has been key to their success.
Totally agree.
Yeah, I think that when these like global key accounts roles, I think that the name does not really live up to what it actually is, because it's like global key accounts sounds like a key accounts role, but it's actually really like a sales strategy role and capability building role normally. Mm-hmm. It does show you that type of like strategic work. So one topic that we wanted to talk to you about, and we know that you're passionate about, is about sustainability. So how do you live sustainability? How do you apply sustainability in your day-to-day, especially in commercial, which wouldn't be the typical function that you would relate to sustainability?
Okay, I think I'm very happy to talk about this topic, no? And from a commercial point of view. what I did, well, I'm really engaged committed to sustainability. Personally, I try to do my small things, the small things that can support. And also, the first thing that I did when I got to Bimbo is to try to understand and deep dive and really learn the strategy of the sustainability framework. We started with our purpose, that is nourishing a better world, and I think the sustainability framework in Bimbo, I think it's pretty similar. We have a lot of similarities, and I think in this talking about sustainability, you don't care if somebody is going to copy you or is because there's no competition. I've heard the other day an analysis, and they were talking about pre-competition. No, it's not about competition. I go even farther. I would like somebody competing with me in order to be better than me in sustainable things, because it's going to be good for everybody, for the planet. So in Grupo Bimbo, we have like 3 pillars that in Spanish is para ti, para la vida, para la naturaleza. In English is baked for you, baked for life, and baked for nature. And that's at the end, it works in three angles: bringing better nutrition to millions by providing recipes and nutrients, support the communities that we work with, and become a zero carbon champion of regenerative agriculture. Those are the 3 pillars, and with that, there's many initiatives. For me, the thing that I want to share with you guys in the podcast, and I'm happy that somebody likes the idea and copy us, because I told you, no, there's no competition here, is that what we have done as a team, as a key account team. First of all, we have connected very closely with Olga Martinez, that is our ESG director and public affairs director for Bimbo. And she has a transversal team that is working in all the sustainability initiatives. And together we have thought about a plan, about a plan in order to put the sustainability within the commercial framework. So the first thing that we've done is, as a team, as a key account teams, the 20 people that we are conforming the team, we have learned and go through all the sustainability framework and the 3 pillars that I've told you. And we have learned and we are constantly reviewing the achievements. In all our meetings, there's always a tip on sustainability. Then we have created that transversal team that has also a study and all the sustainability plans for our main customers: Carrefour, Corte Inglés, Consum, everyone. In order not to say names, because we have every key account has a study each customer. And after that, within the sales plan, there's 1 pillar at the same level as that could be promotion, activation, visibility, that is sustainability. So in every customer meeting, we share our commitments, we review their commitments, and we look for initiatives that we can do together as partners in order to really look for sustainability KPIs. So we have sales, profit, but we have also KPIs on sustainability initiatives that we have with customers. We are starting the journey. It has been months of preparation, and now we're going to start to harvest all the effort. So from here, I would say thank you to Olga and all her team for the support and the engagement with this proposal.
So we'll have to get you back on the podcast in a year to ask you about the achievements that you've accomplished, no?
Happy to come back, yeah.
From these 3 pillars that you mentioned as a corporation, Bimbo, is there some project that you've heard about at a worldwide level that you think you're especially proud of? When you think of Bimbo, you're like, wow, it's great to work in a company like this because they do this initiative.
Well, I think the whole framework, and for me, it was surprising is from Daniel Servitje, our CEO, Rafa Pamias, that is also now the number 1 also for the company with Daniel, is I think it's the focus and all the time in every meeting they talk about the sustainability. So they are embedding the sustainability strategy within the company. We have many initiatives in all these. If I can talk about some local ones, just because we have many globally. I like there's one, the global race, the Bimbo global race. I really like that one because we are promoting in every city at the same time active life. And if you participate in the global race, Bimbo donates a number of bread slides to the banks. How do you call that? The Banco de Alimentos in English. I don't know how to say the food.
Food banks.
The food banks. So we donate these bread slides. So you feel really proud of that. Last year we have donated 300,000 slices of breads because of the people that run into the global race. The Good Neighbor also is a program that we do in order to support the local communities. So those are the ones that are pretty more close to the people. Then of course we have natural ingredients, recipes, the regenerative agriculture that is also very, very important for the future of our planet. But the electric vehicles for the sales reps, even for the directors, we are also now putting hybrid vehicles in order to reduce contamination. So everything is working well, and we're very proud to work in a company like that.
A lot of people that may be listening to us, like in commercial functions, may be like, okay, that all sounds very good, but at the end of the day, I know that what will make or break my results and my legacy in a company is that I deliver the numbers, right? What would you say is in it for them from like a sustainability? Why should they be applying these sustainability KPIs that you're applying as a
we need to change. We need to change to switch mode, and everything. And I think all the companies that has a purpose and a total focus on sustainability, they will last time. If not, your company will die, I'm sure. And everything is related. Everything is related to numbers. So we need to go beyond numbers, and believe me, they have to try it, and you feel better. You feel better as a person, as an employee, and the number is there. It's not gonna. I think it's gonna make you grow faster when you have this type of conversations and committed. It helps you to strengthen the relation with customers, and we are all talking the same language. We are not competing. We are helping. We know that it is the same objective. So definitely, it's something that it will help to grow the commercial number. I'm 100% sure.
Well, and I think you hit the nail on the head earlier, Servio, when you talked about, like you said, you don't mind. There's no competition, right? When it comes to this, it's like you need to reach critical mass, because when you reach that critical mass, like you said, it's not just the FMCG brands, but it's also the retailers working together against, this challenge, this common challenge that we all share. So I think it's, and I also am a big believer in what gets measured gets done. So exactly. I think, hearing you say that those sustainability KPIs are sharing the stage from a measurement standpoint with sales and profit will go a long way, right? Because what gets measured gets done. So
exactly.
Yeah. I'm curious, and this could be within the context of sustainability, but it could also be beyond it as well. If there are any areas of innovation that you're particularly excited about for the future in terms of things that you're seeing in the commercial world that get you excited in terms of what could be next.
Yeah. Well, I think innovation is key. It's key for the commercial teams, for the companies. I think I firmly believe that innovation is the engine of growth for the companies. And I've been lucky in these 2 years in Bimbo. I live 2 big launches that we've done in the Grupo Bimbo. That is, I don't know if you've heard about the croissant. Croissant is a bread with a croissant with the shape of a bread that it has been crazy, and it gives you the impact that innovation could have in your company, and also enter into new categories. But if I think more outside of my company, what I'm really excited or intrigued to see is how it's going to connect the role of the artificial intelligence. Mm-hmm. That's something that it's now keeping me thinking a lot. You know, I see the way that things are moving fast. I think that how can connect with the commercial roles, you know, about analysis, prediction, learning, teaching. So I think it's going to be interesting in the next few, I would say, months, because this is not about years anymore, how the artificial intelligence is already changing a lot of things and helping and supporting, but how it's gonna change also the way commercial teams work, manage, and interact.
It's definitely changed B2B companies' pitches, because in every B2B company pitch, now they put AI somewhere. That's definitely a change that's happened already.
It does make it, you kind of have to, you know, celebrate or separate the wheat from the chaff, as they would say in the US, in terms of when it comes to that, right? Because it's kind of what's real versus vaporware when it comes to AI. But I asked Servio, I totally agree with you on the AI element and the role it can play in commercial. I've already been thinking myself in regards to, like, you know, for example, what is the role of AI could have in regards to how we are evaluating, optimizing, maybe even creating marketing content that we use, right? Or how it can play a role in terms of like merchandising as well. I mean, I know that there are certain retailers that are already kind of in essence pushing the envelope in this area as well. So yeah, I'm very keen, and I wouldn't be surprised if this is one of the topics on a future podcast that we host, Daniel.
Yeah.
It's strange that we haven't had it yet. And you know what we should do one day, Efrain?
We will. And I think, just to plug, you know, there will be a shop talk where this is one of the key topics in this year's session. So definitely more on that to come. Yeah. Servio, this is it's always great to catch up, and this has been really fascinating, particularly hearing about, like you said, you guys at Bimbo have really taken sustainability and made it not just a priority, but a standard part of the standard way of working at the company. Would love to. I have one more question for you. We have one more question for you, and this is a question that we ask all our guests, which is that what advice would you give your younger self at the beginning of your career, right? Again, going back to the Servio coming out of law school, starting his career, you know, based on what you've learned over the years, what would be that one piece of advice you would give yourself?
So I have two kids now. One is just about to finish the university, and that Servio and Maria will enter into the university next year. And if I hope they see this podcast, so this message is also going for them, that I'm repeating all the time, but I would say, I would say that for the young people, they have to train and have present their human values in order to work in companies. Whatever you do in life, the values has to follow you. The values of truth, honesty, discipline. I would say also that they have to be humble. They have to be patient. They have to work hard in order to achieve things, and just be open also to change and opportunities in life. And with that, without those old things, I think the success will come.
So this has been Servio Calvo from Grupo Bimbo, commercial director. Daniel, interesting conversation with our old friend Servio. What are your thoughts?
Indeed. I have to tell you, like, I asked him so many times to meet me in Barcelona, and now I see him suddenly on the podcast. It was a lot of fun. So I learned a lot from him as well.
Well, I think it just goes to show you, right, the power of being able to connect virtually as opposed to physically. Although both are good, but it's nice to have the flexibility.
Indeed. So no, I think it was interesting. I mean, for example, I think, I was excited to have somebody that has a local role in Spain. So it was interesting to learn a bit more about this market, for example.
I think it's also interesting to hear his perspective in regards to how Grupo Bimbo is really an institution in a lot of the markets that they operate, and is a family business, but on a multinational scale, right? So it's just fascinating to hear how they run their business in that regard.
Yeah, exactly. He also talked about some key values they have, right?
He did. He did. He talked about the golden rule and how, in essence, that really ultimately drives most of what they do, or in essence, everything they do at Grupo Bimbo. He also mentioned that with regards to how he's thinking about sustainability,
Yeah.
and really interesting what sustainability means and how it actually gets actioned from a commercial point of view.
Yeah, exactly. And ultimately, I think that having a mission that's more than just results, as we saw with Servio, is a great way to like engage and motivate your troops
Yeah, I
in the
mean,
way that it creates a sense of belonging and yeah, and purpose.
absolutely. And to me, I think there were two key takeaways in regards to his points on sustainability. The first was how it's really being driven down through the organization in terms of making commitments and metrics that you measure and track everywhere from the marketing level, but also the commercial teams as well. In that he talked about it's part of all the discussions that they have in regards to what they're doing from a sustainability standpoint. And then secondly, how he really sees this as a situation where rising water raises all boats, right? In that there is no competition, and he's very open to, in essence, collaborating with people who, maybe in the past you may see as a competitor, but ultimately we're all in this together in regards to solving the sustainability challenge.
Yeah, and that's something that I've heard from a lot of FMCGs lately. So that it's not a competition, that it's a common effort. So it'll be interesting to see how that like common space of common benefit evolves in the future. Like, will we see more partnerships between different FMCG companies on that terrain?
Absolutely. I think it's going to be a different kind of partnership than the way we've kind of thought about them in the past, which is around some sort of joint product or some sort of joint sales opportunity, right? This is going to be a little bit different, but it's should be an interesting space to watch nonetheless. Well, Daniel, thank you for joining me. As always, good discussion with an old friend, Servio. Hopefully our audience is able to take away some of those key points as well. Would ask you all again to, if you're not following us already on LinkedIn, please to do so. Hit that like button or that follow button. And also let us know what you like, what you think we should be doing. If there's any other topics you want us to cover, we're open to all sorts of feedback. Let us know, and we will see you next time on the FMCG Guys. Talk soon.